Hey guys, it's Jared back with another quick video. Now I know my last one, a little bit long, a little bit depressing, maybe a little bit of a rant and a ramble and a repetition of the same point over and over and over again. For that I'm sorry. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a plain Jane video. Now my video is going to be about combat and story. I was talking with a friend of mine recently, a gaming buddy, and sorry, had some cocaine stuck, pesky little crystals. Now my gaming friend and I were having a discussion about some of the role-playing styles of the game masters we used to share table space with, myself included. And we were having a very candid conversation because I wanted to hear it. The thing of it is, again, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. You're gonna hear a lot about my book in the next year. Not details specifically, but you're gonna hear me talk about stuff in relation to my book because me and my friends we talk about my book. They're always asking me, "Is your book done yet? Is your book done yet? Is your book done yet? Is your book done yet?" And to that I say no. But the thing of it is, when you're writing anything, whether it be my 9 to 5 job where I write bits about heavy metal music, or in reference to my gaming book, you have to write about stuff you know. Now, if you don't know anything about being a proper game master, and that, of course, that's subjective right there. Being a proper game master is, kind of up to your players. But let's just say you have to have a pretty well balanced idea of how to play a role playing game, tabletop version, of course. Because you're about to write a book based on those experiences. Because the only thing I can do is read other books, other gaming books, a couple right here, and see what the style of writing is like. It's always important to make sure that you keep that style down. Otherwise, it sounds a bit like a tech manual, and you don't want that. It's a rule book, yeah, but don't make it sound like a rule book. The same token, you have to have a good foundation of role-playing skills and game mastering skills. I would not suggest a player, exclusively a player, write a gaming book because they're only seeing one side of the coin. I think that player needs to put in some GMing time, and then they'll see. Because GMing is playing, plus it's rules management, it's decision making, it's thinking outside the box. Thus the reason why I ended up being rather improvisational game master, and that's exactly what my friend was explaining to me, that I was always good at keeping pace, picking up on stuff relatively quick. So, and then this topic, and then the conversation, as you can very well imagine, got turned to combat and role playing, the balance between those two. Now, I kind of went back. He did kind of say that there are a few games where there wasn't a whole lot of combat going on, and that's fine. Granted, he told me what games they were, and I said, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I thought that it might have been good to have an instance of combat in somewhere in there, but I thought that might have been too mean or, you know. But that, of course, made me think about the very nature of combat in games. It's not always about. It's not always about a challenge itself. And maybe this kind of got hammered home a little bit by playing, video games recently. Bet you can guess which one. Um, and I just noticed that no matter what level your character's at, combat is in itself like a cutscene in a way. Well, no, flip that. Role playing is like a cutscene. There's a lot of dialogue, a lot of imagery, and combat can be a part of that role playing experience, but it doesn't have to be. But combat, pure combat, is the game, and combat in itself cannot. It can be just like an intersection because you have very different types of people at your gaming table. You have your role players, your hardcore role players. They delve inside their character's brain and camp out in its cerebral cortex for 8 hours. And maybe they're not interested in fighting at all. And there have been many times myself, as a game master, when I got switched to being a player, I did not care to have a character that fought a lot because uh, I actually was doing a lot of research for my next game for this exact group, and I just wanted a day off. So I played a character that was merely a side character. There was some combat skills, but mostly I think I was a merchant. So really, I was kind of just there and spoke and put my abilities as a merchant to use. That's like diplomacy, bartering, intimidation, very diplomatic type character, but not totally not a combatant. But there are other characters that are from the video game side of things. They came into gaming because they like to do a dungeon crawl, meat grinder like Diablo 2. I guess now Diablo 3. And you want to support those people. So, let's say your characters are, in this case, like what the game he was referring to, characters had some downtime and they were shopping, they were doing their usual stuff, they were buying new equipment, being in the tavern, do. Now, what ever stops? I mean, encounters happen anywhere, right? But it doesn't always have to be significant. Quite honestly, what I wanted to do with them was have a major market incident that was completely outside of their characters to happen, and then they could choose to join in or not. And it was a fight, basically, a big fight. City guards couldn't handle it. It was like a riot, like a small city riot. And, the city guards couldn't handle it, and do the characters take advantage of the situation? Do they assist the city guard? What do they do? That was what I wanted to do. But I figured, no, they're just buying stuff. I'll use this time to flip through some books and get some ideas. Wrong. Don't do that. I'm telling you. As a game master, slash dungeon master, level 75, and also as a writer who's tackling his own role playing game. Don't do that. Balance it out. When your gut tells you, what this game needs? It needs an action sequence. Put in an action sequence. Don't hold back because you think it's going to be mean, because it's not personal. It's just a game, and the encounter does not need to be terribly, really, really bad. Case in point, your players are setting up camp. They haven't even done that sort of traditional decide on who takes what watch, and they're already ambushed. But the ambush is kind of way below their expectations. Let's take D&D. They're starting to set up camp, just making decisions. What spells am I going to research for tomorrow and all that stuff. Just 4 or 5 goblins. That's right, 5. Not like 50, not 20, not 10, not one with not a bandit leader and his thugs. Just like 5 random goblins. And you know what they are? They're just thinking that they can use an opportunity to steal some stuff. You gotta think, this is, these gaming worlds we keep immersing ourselves in are actually living, breathing worlds. And not everybody is centralized around your character's storyline. Sometimes it's just living, it's just a pulse, if you will, of the world around them. And five goblins going ahead and thinking, hey, those guys look like an easy target, let's raid their camp. Was foolish of those goblins, but that's kind of what the point is. It's not a combat encounter to kill characters. That's not what the game's about. And it's not a combat encounter that's going to get anybody any great deal of experience or further the story along. It's one of those little intersections I told you about, little breakup. Just bam, five goblins. What? Why are they? What? Five? And everybody has a little bit of left. But I tell you what, they get one well-placed shot, things don't seem that funny anymore. Or let's say they pilfer something and go running off into the bush. Now you've got a chase through the woods that will probably about 100% of the time. No, it's too certain. You can never be 100% certain. 99.9% of the time is going to result in five very dead goblins. Unless you've got somebody who's going to be diplomatic and speak goblin. There's always one of those characters. Yeah, but it's just that short little breakup, you know, helps keep both sides amused, especially in a role-playing heavy session. Just something. It doesn't have to always happen, because then your characters, your players, think it's always going to happen. But if you're not really doing it a lot, start doing it. Start putting little touches of combat here and there. You know, it's like making food. Don't over salt, but you be damn sure to make sure that you put just a little bit. Otherwise, you get bland. And nobody likes bland. They dislike bland more than they dislike oversalted. Because oversalt just needs more water. Anyway, that's been my time. Keep the dice rolling, guys, and we'll see you next time.